Alright, so in my previous Terminator reviews, what I have done is given you my reaction to the films while also reviewing it and turning that into a video, really. And for the most part, that's been a somewhat successful formula, and it's been really fun for me because I get to give you my raw thoughts on these films. But for obvious reasons, I could not do that for the Sarah Connor Chronicles because it is a TV show and it goes for much longer. So what I am doing now is I'm giving you my reaction to the very last 3 episodes of season 2, and then possibly giving you my thoughts on the whole show overall after. Okay, I've got a beer, a nice pizza, nice looking pizza there, some garlic bread. So I've got my dinner, and I'm going to watch the shit out of this. I don't want to say anything yet about my thoughts on it, but for now, we're just going to get right into this.
How long will it take you to pack up the storage locker?
A while. Some explosives that need securing.
Make sure you get to the safe house.
This feels very much like a finale to me. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck just... Wait, what? I just had to reverse that for a rewind that for a second. Like, did I just see what I thought I saw? What?
Mr. Murch, I'm ready to confront the Mind Flayer now.
The Mind Flayer. The Mind Flayer. Stranger Things. Oh my gosh. Dude, we haven't seen this character in ages.
Will you join us? She says she hopes you'll know what that means.
Do you know what that means?
No, I don't.
Oh no, I know what that means.
Reach down under the breastplate.
This is weird, man. Things are happening. There's a word for that.
Get down.
I don't understand shit. Like, what is going on? Oh. Oh. What?
Look in his eyes. He's got about as much metal in him as you do. Eric. Yeah? John. John Connor. I know a lot of people, kid. Talking about you. Anybody heard the name John Connor? Well, you know what? I think you're gonna be famous.
I feel like that was more of a cliffhanger, but it also could have been a way to wrap up the show without revealing too much. Or like, it could have been like one of those open-ended endings. I don't know. Well, on to my review for the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
1 week later.
Yeah, and that's not a lie too. It has actually been a week since I finished watching the Sarah Connor Chronicles. But without further ado, I'm going to get to... I'm actually going to go through this season by season. There's not that many seasons though, there's only 2. Season 2 is the longest, so I'm going to spend a bit more time talking about my thoughts on that. But firstly, I'm going to start with Season 1. One of the first things that I immediately loved, or I think the only first thing that I immediately loved, was Summer Glau as Cameron. She was so good as this character. One thing that they did with Arnie in T2 was he was a machine having to live among humans, so there was a lot of awkward moments, right, between him and the rest of the world, essentially, and you do get that with Cameron. But what also happens, I think, is that they were alluding to the idea of what would a Terminator do if it was ordered to go against its master, being Skynet, because just like Arnie, Cameron is working with John and Sarah to prevent the rise of the machines, essentially, to prevent Judgment Day, right? So I thought it was interesting, like, seeing her kind of keep some secrets to keep some things to herself, do some things on her own without anyone knowing. It really made me question her. But to be clear, I liked her because of that. I did like John Connor though in this season, and I liked him because in T2, John was very good with computers. We saw this where whenever he would try, or whenever he would successfully hack, I don't know, like in the first part of the movie, he hacked an ATM and got lots of money. And then later in the movie, he hacked some sort of keypad when they were at Cyberdyne Systems to open a door. So clearly in T2, he was good with machines, which is interesting, seeing as he is the leader of the resistance against the machines. So I found that interesting in T2. Never mentioned it though. Mentioning it now though, because they actually bring it back. In T3, it's like that part of his character was just forgotten. There's no part in T3 where you actually see John Connor do anything like he did in T2. In this show, they kind of stick to John a little bit more. He's good with machines, a lot better than what he was in T2. On to the actor now. I don't know his name. Yeah, I forgot. Anyway, the actor, I thought, did a better job than this idiot in T3. Okay, there were moments in Season 1 where you saw John Connor where his knowledge of technology and shit like that. I liked that he would sort of take charge of a situation where no one else really knew what to do. I kind of like that. This show actually, I saw like a glimmer of the future in this guy. Like this burden is weighing down on this guy, and he gets kind of fed up sometimes, and he takes charge of a situation, or he goes against his mother or someone else like Derek. If you've seen the show, you'll know who that is. One thing though, the actress who played Sarah Connor, I did not like the actress that played Sarah Connor. The actress is the actor, sorry, whatever, it doesn't matter. She was fine. I like her as an actor, but she didn't really do a good job as Sarah Connor. She didn't convince me that she was Sarah Connor. And that's where I'll get into a slight negative of the show overall. This kind of feels like fan fiction. There are moments in the show overall felt like fan fiction. It didn't feel like it was picking up after T2. Like, it didn't feel like actual canon. And I guess that is how you could look at all the other Terminator movies after T2 as like fan fiction. That way you could get some more enjoyment out of it, I guess. Anyway, moving on with Season 2. I like Season 2 a lot more than Season 1. Mostly because of its the first part of the season and the last part of the season. Like, the last portion and the first portion of Season 2 was great. It was so good. Even though the show still doesn't feel like it's a part of the Terminator canon, it was still great. It was still great entertainment. It was still really enthralling, I guess, with ideas that they introduce and things that they do with certain characters like Cameron. I really don't want to spoil it, because when this thing happened with Cameron, it surprised the hell out of me. I did not think that they were going to do that, but the first episode of Season 2 picks up right after the last episode of Season 1, where something happened to Cameron, and then that leads to something else. And I just loved that. That was nail-biting. Like, that was really good. And they did some really interesting things with this character. Like, this has got to be the best character in all the Terminator, like, one of the best Terminator characters in the entire franchise. Like, if you want to actually say that the show is a part of the franchise officially, then Cameron has got to be one of my favorite characters just because of what they did with her. There is never a moment in this show where I was bored watching Cameron. She was so good, man. And John was still good. Still felt like the leader of the future. But what they do with him in this season is they kind of go in a teen drama relationship sort of thing. Like, I didn't like that. Like, I get that he's a teenager, like he's a young man, he's got all this shit weighing down on him, and it's sort of like pushing his physical and mental growth aside, right? He goes through some stuff, and that occurs when a new character is introduced called Riley, and I'm not going to say how, but Riley is connected to another new character that is related to Derek's in some way, not related as in family, but Jessie, that's her name. I forgot her name because I didn't like her, and not because she was poorly done, just because the more you see of this character, Jessie, the more you fucking hate her, man. She's a bitch. Like, I did not like her as a character. When it comes to Jessie and Riley, in the middle portion of the season, when we start getting into the middle part of season 2, that's where everything slows down to a grinding halt. The middle portion of this season is just the Jessie and Riley storyline and another storyline that involves this character named something Weaver, okay? She's the head of this company. I didn't like her either. Like, I really didn't like her either. Like, she was kind of a boring character, kind of like Jessie and Riley. But with the introduction of this character named Weaver comes a second storyline. And I was not that interested in these two main stories or two main plots that was taking up a majority of the show. But while that's all happening, like the team, John, Sarah, Cameron, Derek, they don't know about these two plot lines. They don't know what Weaver, the owner of this company, is planning. They don't know what Jessie and Riley are planning. So they're sort of like, the team are on their own journey, I guess. But that really has no effect because it seems like the Jessie and Riley storyline and the Weaver storyline is what they really wanted to do this season, but they didn't know how to fit it all in with what the team were doing. Because all the team was doing was trying to prevent Skynet. And it's kind of like a road. Like, you're meant to go down this road and you're meant to go down it straight, but there's all these bumps along the way and you have to keep taking these fucking detours, and it's like, that's what the middle portion of season 2 felt like. It was really boring. Like, I got really bored. Just to clarify, the first part of season 2, I loved. What middle portion, did not love so much at all. No, I didn't like it at all. And the end, like, I'd say the last 5 episodes of season 2 is when those two main plot lines come to an end, right? The Jessie and Riley storyline and the Weaver storyline, right? That comes to an end within the last 5 episodes, right? That all comes to an end, and that I really liked. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the show, don't watch the rest of this video. John Connor and Weaver, who is a T-1000, travel to the future, and John runs into Derek, who earlier in the season died. Like, they killed Derek. He's been around since season 1, I think, and they just kill Derek, and they killed Derek. Holy shit. Anyway, John from the past comes to the future, runs into them, and then Derek from the future, who's obviously alive, is like, I've never heard of John Connor, but it seems like you're going to be important or famous or whatever he said. And it's like, whoa, what? You're telling me that John Connor from the future is actually from the past? So that if John Connor never traveled to the future, he probably would have died in the nuclear attacks? That blows my mind that they did that. Like, I would never have thought that they were going to do that. But here's the thing. It doesn't tell you. The show just ends on that. It doesn't tell you that maybe John Connor did survive the nuclear nuclear attacks, or the bombs, or whatever. The end of the fucking world. Just calm down, Josh. I like that it's kind of like the season kind of ends ambiguously, leaving it up to you. Now, here's the thing. Probably they had a 3rd season planned, and they were going to explain that. But I actually kind of like that they don't have a 3rd season, because it leaves me with that question. Is the John Connor that we've all known from the first two movies, did he get to the future by surviving the nuclear bombs, or did he travel to the future? I love that the season just kind of ends on that. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough about this show. Here's my quick summary of my feelings on the show. Would I watch this show ever again? Probably not. As a first-time viewer of this show, I loved it in moments, like the ending of season 1 and the beginning of season 2 and the ending of season 2. Loved that part. But the first and middle portion of season 1 was okay, and the middle portion of season 2 I really did not like, because there was nothing interesting going on. It was so many episodes of filler, it just, no. Anyway, that's possibly my very long review for Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I will see you in my review for Terminator Salvation, okay? I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I'm pretty sure that is the one I hate. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, as long as it might have been. I'll see you in the next Terminator review.